It started with lights blue, red, and white strobing across my living room window like a broken warning sign. It was 5:42 p.m. on a Thursday, school night. My 14-year-old autistic son, Mason, was sitting barefoot on the curb, hands zip-tied, his RC car lying sideways on the driveway, one wheel still spinning slowly. Across the street stood Valerie, the self-appointed sheriff of Rosewood Hills, arms crossed, and phone raised like she'd just captured footage of a fugitive. 2 police officers flanked Mason. One spoke into his radio. The other bent to speak with him like he was a threat instead of a teenager with a toy. I stepped outside in sweatpants and a t-shirt that said "World's Okayest Dad," holding a steaming mug of coffee. I glanced at the shorter cop and asked, as calmly as I could manage, "Can you tell me what law my son just broke?" He opened his mouth to respond, but I didn't give him the chance because 3 days earlier, none of this had happened. It began with a rare sound, Mason laughing. A high-pitched, honest laugh that broke through the usual quiet like sunlight through clouds. He was racing his newest invention, the Typhoon X2A sleek, lightning-fast RC car he'd designed from scratch. He'd 3D printed the frame, coded the controller, and tuned it to perfection. No YouTube tutorials. No help. Just hours of trial, error, and focus. Torque calibration at 87%, Mason muttered to himself as locked on the car as it looped around our mailbox with uncanny precision. He didn't thrive in noise or crowds, but when he built something that moved, flew, or Racetta came alive. I sat on the porch, sipping coffee, watching in the way only a dad can when he realizes his kid is already better at something than he'll ever be. That's when Valerie showed up. She crossed the street like a patrolling mall cop, polo shirt tucked into khakis, clipboard in one arm, expression set to mildly offended. She stopped cold when she saw the Typhoon. Mason didn't notice. He was deep in the zone. But I did. "What exactly is that?" Valerie asked, pointing at the car like it had just hissed at her. "That's a high-performance electric RC vehicle," I replied. "My son built it. It's on the sidewalk. He's testing it. It's loud. It's quieter than your sprinkler timer. It has a camera," she snapped. "It's disabled," Mason said, eyes still on the track. She blinked, surprised he'd spoken. "Well, it's disruptive," she said, tone tightening. "This is a peaceful community. He lives here. This is his peaceful community too." Valerie folded her arms. "Devices like that can cause injury. You might want to review the HOA bylaws." "Oh, I have," I said with a smile. "Turns out your name appears more than the word lawn." Her face hardened. She turned and stormed back across the street. "Have a nice day, Valerie," I called after her. That night we got a letter. Official HOA letterhead and all. "Notice of disturbance. Your property has been observed operating a mechanical device deemed disruptive to community peace." Attached, a $75 fine and a warning that continued non-compliance could lead to legal escalation. I showed it to Mason. He scanned it, confused. "What did I do wrong?" "You built something amazing," I told him. "Valerie doesn't know how to do that." He nodded. "Should I stop?" "Nope. You're going to build it again." The next afternoon, Valerie returned. Not with a letter this time, just her voice. "Your son's car was seen near several driveways," she announced. "Some residents believe it's recording them." "It's not. The camera is disabled." "How would we know that?" "You could ask." Valerie didn't like that answer. "I'm reporting this to the board," she said. "He's violating safety expectations." "He's 14, Valerie. He's a liability." That's when Mason stepped out of the garage holding a new controller. Valerie looked at him like he was malware. "You're endangering people," she said. Mason just stood there, quiet and waiting. "We're done here," I said, stepping between them. "You'll hear from us," she warned. That night, Mason didn't build. He didn't talk much either. Just sat in the garage staring at his charging station like it had betrayed him. I watched from the kitchen, coffee cold in my hand, and I made a decision. The next time Valerie crossed a line, I wasn't going to stay quiet. That line came the very next day. Mason had built a simpler car. No camera, no Wi-Fi, no speed mods, just 4 wheels and a little joy. Then it disappeared. He'd left it charging on the porch. Gone. We searched everywhere. Then I got the alert. Someone had posted a photo on the HOA message board, a picture of Mason's car smashed in Valerie's front yard. Caption: Unapproved surveillance device found on private property. Disabled for safety. I took a screenshot. Mason stood behind me, jaw clenched. Do I report it? He asked. You let me handle it. I walked straight to Valerie's door and knocked like I had a badge. She opened it, sighed. Here to harass me again? You stole my son's property. I neutralized a threat. He's 14. That car had no camera. That's what they all say. Return what's left or I'll press charges. Press all you want. She slammed the door in my face. Mason didn't speak. He just started rebuilding, not because he had to, but because he refused not to. That night, I printed out the entire HOA charter. Highlighted 5 violations Valerie had committed in one post. I logged every message, every citation, every lie. And I waited. The next Wednesday, Mason was outside again. This time with a low-power build. No camera. No risk. I was on a call when I heard the sirens. 2 chirps. I stepped outside just in time to see a cruiser pulling into the driveway. Mason stood frozen. 2 officers exited the vehicle. Valerie stood nearby, filming again. Sir, one officer said, we received a report about a juvenile operating suspicious mechanical equipment. He's driving an RC car. There are concerns about privacy violations. There's no camera. He was seen outside multiple homes. He lives here. Mason still hadn't moved. The controller hung from his fingers. Before they could say anything else, I stepped forward. That boy is my son, I said. And I'm the district attorney. The radios went silent. Valerie lowered her phone. But if she thought it was over, she didn't know who she was dealing with. The next big event was HOA Family Day, hot dogs, bounce house, the works. Mason wanted to go. He said it softly, like he was asking too much. I want to fly something. Not film. Just fly. Yeah, I said. Let's go. He'd built a quadcopter camera, no GPS, just manual controls and a basic stabilizer. It hovered like a dream. Valerie arrived like she owned the place. Same smug posture. But she smiled. That worried me more than anything. I saw her near the snack table, whispering to the event coordinator. She pointed at Mason, then the sky. Stop the music, she shouted through a PA system she'd somehow gotten her hands on. All eyes turned. That is a violation, she yelled, pointing at Mason's drone. Unauthorized aerial device. Military tech. Surveillance. The DJ fumbled the volume knob. Mason landed the drone gently. 2 officers showed up, young and old. Hey, buddy, the younger one said. Can we ask you a couple of questions? I stepped in. We're happy to cooperate. But this drone has no camera, no GPS, and it's operating within community guidelines. You don't get to define the guidelines, Valerie barked. I helped write them, I said. Remember? DA still applies. The officers asked Mason a few questions. He answered simply, honestly. And then the older cop walked over to Valerie. Ma'am, he said. None of your complaints have held up. If there's a real threat, we'll act. But right now, you're causing more of a disruption than the kid. She gasped. I represent this community. Then maybe you should start acting like it. That night, a new letter arrived. Addressed to Mason. HOA letterhead. A formal restriction notice banning him from shared property pending review. I posted a photo of it to the community board. No caption. Just the envelope. It went viral in 3 hours. Messages flooded in. Parents. Homeowners. Dozens of them. Valerie hadn't just targeted Mason, she targeted everyone. Someone even posted a spreadsheet. Valerie's fines 2020 present. $31,000 in 3 years. 82% issued without board vote. Almost all signed by Valerie. That night, I didn't get mad. I got organized. I filed legal requests. Public records. Financial disclosures. Then I created a database of HOA violations. By midnight, I had over 40 entries. By morning, 60. Every one tied to Valerie. And it wasn't just petty citations. It was fraud. Vendor kickbacks. Shell companies. One was owned by her cousin. Another? Her niece. A forensic audit confirmed everything. $42,618.57 unaccounted. 19 checks. Falsified board meetings. Ghost votes. We called a public emergency meeting. I held up the audit. Valerie showed up late. Dressed in white. Like it would save her. I clicked through slides. Checks. Vendor receipts. Signatures. Lies. One voice broke the silence. She fined me for a garden gnome. Another, she yelled at my daughter for chalk drawings. And then, soft but clear, she fined me for my son's wheelchair ramp. The room fell silent. Valerie stood to speak, but it was too late. The deputies walked in. Valerie Newton, you are under arrest for misappropriation of funds, falsifying records, and harassment of a minor. She dropped her clipboard. This is a setup, she screamed. You embarrassed your freak son. And from the back, someone called, You embarrassed yourself. She was let out in cuffs. Not a single person spoke in her defense. Josh Mason watched from a live stream. He texted me one word. Boom. Continued in next message due to length. Continued from previous message. After the arrest, Valerie's empire collapsed like it had never been real to begin with. She was removed from the HOA board unanimously. Her shell company was disbanded. All illegal fines were refunded, every trumped-up fee, every shady violation. 2 other board members resigned. One lawyering up. The property manager? Under full investigation. Valerie's house hit the market within 10 days. Her name was never spoken again at a community meeting except once, when someone asked if a new rule would be Valerie-proof. Mason flew again. At the park. In the cul-de-sac. Sometimes just in the driveway where it all began. Neighbors waved now. One dropped off cookies. He took them awkwardly, like he wasn't used to people being kind anymore. I watched him from the porch, no lights flashing, no threats, no stares, just a drone hovering above our home like it belonged there. Then the folder showed up, delivered to my office in a plain manila envelope. Inside, a flash drive and one sheet of paper labeled Compliance Escalation, Level 2. It wasn't just our neighborhood. 7 others. Different counties. Same patterns. Same tactics. Same fraud. Valerie wasn't an isolated case. She was a cog in something bigger. That same evening, a man in a gray suit with no name and no hesitation stepped out of a black sedan. He handed me a second folder. We're forming a task force, he said. You want in? I didn't answer right away. Just looked past him at Mason, silhouetted by the sunset, flying a hawk-shaped drone that turned perfectly midair. The hum from its rotors sounded like freedom. Valerie hadn't broken him. She just sparked something that would never be extinguished again. In the weeks that followed, Rosewood Hills began to heal, not through dramatic speeches or reforms, but through the absence of fear. Kids rode bikes without being watched. Sidewalk chalk reappeared. Lawn flamingos stood proud. Someone even left a potted cactus on every mailbox in the neighborhood. Including mine. Including Mason's. And when the next family day came around, reborn, rebooted, reclaimed, they didn't just allow Mason to fly. They asked him to headline. He launched 5 drones in formationo fanfare, no fancy music. Just grace, balance, beauty. When the show ended, a little girl approached him shyly. Can you teach me? She asked. Mason didn't hesitate. Garage is open after school. A week later, I found a sticky note in the mailbox. A sketch of Mason's drone. Underneath it said, Thanks for reminding us who we are. That same day, another black sedan pulled up. No plates. Same gray suit. The man didn't knock, just waited. When I met him outside, he handed me another folder. You started something, he said. We found 7 more neighborhoods. Same crimes. Same fear. You want in? I didn't answer. Just looked at Mason, still flying, steady as ever. Later that night, Mason showed me something. He tapped his drone's controller. The quad hovered in place and played a warped audio loop. You don't know who I am, Valerie's voice distorted like a haunted memory. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my drink. Mason just smiled. Some memories, he said, deserve a soundtrack. We didn't need sirens anymore. We had silence. And a little hum in the sky.